All right, everybody, welcome to Unscripted One-on-One from my basement still. As we know, I'll be moving to the Junction in Old Hilliard very soon as my studio is ready. But until then, we're from the basement, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guests, and we'll jump right into it. I'm going to go right off the top with his bio. Joining me today is Mike Person, and he's a former 9-year NFL guard. He was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers in the 7th round of the 2011 NFL draft. He played college football at Montana State. In his career, Mike was a member of the Indianapolis Colts, Seattle Seahawks, St. Louis Rams, Atlanta Falcons, and the Kansas City Chiefs. He was the starting guard in the Super Bowl 54. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for the San Francisco 49ers. He now resides in Ohio and is the founder and creator of 5 Dot Offensive Line Academy, which we will spend some time talking about here tonight. And Mike Person, welcome to Unscripted Podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Aaron. I'm excited. It'll be fun. It'll be a good one.
Absolutely, man. So we just met a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just start at the very beginning. I mean, let's go all the way back. It's a throwback Thursday. Actually, we're recording this on Thursday, so it's TBT. Let's start at the beginning. When did it all start for you for football?
So I grew up in a small town in eastern Montana, about 5,000 people. My dad was our high school coach there for 25 years or so. We started football in my hometown in 7th grade. But I would always go with him to his practices and stuff. And, I'd be in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and I'd go out there for a week and try and practice with the big guys, with the high school team. But no, I was around it as soon as I wanted to start being around it. It was pretty nice. My dad never pushed me one direction or the other. It was just something that one day I think it all started to click, and it's like, hey, I love this game. And I was just part of it from 5th grade on, helping out, being basically a gopher for my dad, his teams and stuff. But started in 7th grade and went to Dawson County High School in Glendive, Montana. Ended up going to Montana State. Loved my time there and was lucky enough to have my 9-year career.
Yeah. So when did you always start off as a lineman, or were you like a quarterback first or tight end or ever? Always a lineman.
No, that's in my blood, being an offensive lineman. And, it's not a glamorous position by any means, but I think it's the most fun position on the field, and it's the most entertaining to watch. I rarely watch the football when I'm watching the game. I always watch guys on the offensive line because that's where my passion is.
Yeah. And there's a lot of money being spent right now on the offensive and defensive line. I mean, we're seeing it free agency, right? Because every team is only so good as that offensive, defensive, or defensive line, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that we make things go. And I mean, it's obviously nice to have weapons around us, but the O-line and D-line, they win the games, they win championships.
Absolutely. So when you were in high school, so you said you went to Montana State, was that close to home?
Yeah, for Montana it is. It was about 5 hours away from home. I mean, that's
close.
That's close. My hometown's about 40 miles away from the North Dakota border. Bozeman's in southwest Montana. Yeah. And growing up, we'd always go to Butte, which is a 6-hour drive from my hometown, for 4th of July and Christmas every single year.
Wow.
So when you grow up in Montana, you kind of have your relationship with travel distances is kind of warped.
Yeah, for sure. So now you're probably real spoiled. You're probably 5 minutes from the closest Walmart, right?
Yeah, exactly. The closest Walmart from my hometown was an hour away.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So does a guy from Montana get recruited heavily? Did guys get recruited out of there, or does it stay pretty local?
It usually stays pretty local between Montana State and University of Montana. We'll have a guy here or there every year go to the Mountain West or have a Pac-12 guy. There's a kid this year that's going to BYU, I think. But yeah, it's an under recruited state. there's a lot of talent there, but you know, it just kind of gets looked over sometimes, which it's all right. I mean, it's great for the two FCS universities there.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And who, if kids don't go to Montana or Montana State, if they don't get that opportunity, there's 5 NAIA schools in the state of Montana that recruits pretty heavily, plus a few in North Dakota. So there's plenty of options for kids growing up out there. And it's a great place to grow up, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I got to think that those schools love it, because there's not this huge talent pool. Everybody's right there, and they probably want to stay local, and local being 5 hours, as you just said. Yeah. So, you know, but I got to think those colleges got to love that, because there's not like the competition that you have in Columbus for a kid.
No question. I mean, there's some, so we played in the Big Sky Conference. There's a few Big Sky schools that are trying to make inroads into Montana, but, you know, the ties to the universities in that state are so deep. People don't realize it, but that rivalry with University of Montana, was top 5 most intense games I've ever played in, including the NFL. I mean, Cat Grizz, the entire state shuts down.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty neat thing. I'd highly encourage, if anybody gets a chance to go out and watch a game out there in Missoula or Bozeman, it's a special place.
It's very cool. So from there, you step into Montana State. Now, when you got there, did you start as a freshman, or did you have to kind of earn your way into the starting lineup?
So I redshirted my first year, and then my redshirt freshman season, I started 8 games, tore my MCL. Had a little bit of other adversity, which we can talk about in a little bit, because that's what I want to teach kids about that come to 5 Dot, is overcoming adversities and stuff. But started 8 games, tore my MCL. Redshirt sophomore year, I started 12 games, then started every game after that until I graduated. So I think it came out to be 38 games I started or something in college, and was lucky enough. My senior year was first team All-American at the FCS level. So, and that helped propel me into my NFL career. I didn't know how long that would last. You know, I kind of went into it saying, let's do this. Let's give it a try. But playing 9 years, if you would have asked me that 10 years ago, I would have laughed in your face.
That's awesome. Well, you did have a good career. And so 7th round, and I'm more of a basketball guy. So 7th round, is that stuff still on TV at that point, or is it?
It is.
How's that work?
They don't announce every pick, but still on TV. It was cool seeing my name come across the bottom of the ticker there on ESPN. I'll never forget that day. That was a special day. Coach Harbaugh, he was the head coach in San Francisco. And he's the one that actually called me and asked me, how's it feel to be a 49er? And I mean, I was pumped. I was definitely naive going into it, going into my first training camp. But yeah, it was a whirlwind of a day. That's for sure.
If you could have chosen any city, and we'll do rapid fire later, but if you could have chosen any city, or did you have a dream announcement that you wished would have come? Like, did you have a favorite team or a team that you really wanted to play for?
I grew up a Miami Dolphin fan,
okay,
oddly enough. But you know, playing in San Francisco, that was pretty cool, because I was lucky enough to be there both my rookie year when we went to the NFC Championship, and then my final year when we went to the Super Bowl. And my rookie year, all those crowds at Candlestick Stadium were, it was pretty cool. It was. But yeah, I was very lucky to play in San Francisco, that's for sure. And Kansas City and Seattle. Really all of them.
And Indianapolis that is now I've never been to San Francisco for a game, but I have been to Indianapolis a few times, and those fans, They love their Colts.
No question.
And there's the jersey per capita in that city
Yeah.
is unbelievable. I mean, it is just a sea of jerseys. They've got a great fan base, and they're a classy fan base. That was my experience when I went. They love their football team. They keep it really classy for any fan, and it's another great NFL city in my opinion.
No question. When I was there in 2017, I started 4 games at the end of the year. We were 4-12, so I'm like the attendance wasn't dwindling. You could still see that passionate fan base that they still stuck behind us, and it was a cool place to play. It was.
Yeah, that's awesome. So NFL career, what were some of your highlights personally? Not on paper, not some of the bio that I read, but for you personally, what were some of your favorite NFL moments and achievements?
I mean, the obvious one is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I've never been a big achievement guy. It's what I love about playing is the relationships that you build.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, growing up in a small town in Eastern Montana, I wouldn't have met 90% of the guys that I played with, and learning about their backgrounds and where they came from. So each team, there's a few guys that you still stay in contact with. And that was honestly the hardest part when I retired is finding that camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
I love being at home with my kids and wife right now. But I think that's a tough transition for anybody who plays.
Yeah.
But as far as other things, I don't know. It's more off the field stuff. I met my wife because of the NFL. We met my rookie year in San Francisco. I mean, our kids have been able to see, I mean, they're obviously really young still, but they've lived in multiple different cities for, and it's the off the field stuff that I really look back on with happiness.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer. And I have to think that linemen, I would assume, and I've never been a lineman, but I would assume there's a fraternity there on whatever team you play on. I got to think that those 5 guys in the trenches right there, they go to war together. There's a brotherhood. I would think you probably have some teams that are dysfunctional and maybe there's not, but the good ones, they're a machine. It's a wall of just arm in arm. Is that true? Do you think?
Yeah,
how did you go about building that?
I just think it's all offensive linemen have something in common. It doesn't matter where you come from or what. Most of the times, if a kid plays O-line when they're a freshman in high school, it's because he's too big to play any other position.
Yeah.
I always tell my guys that I work with, it's the best position in sports because it's the only position in sports where your back is to the ball 90% of the time.
Oh, true.
So there is that need for guys to gel together and play together.
Yeah.
And when you're in a room that's like that, I mean, my last 2 years that I played, that was one of the best offensive line rooms I've ever been in. Just
awesome.
Man to man.
Yeah.
We all loved each other. We'd hang out with each other. It goes a long way. And that's what I try and stress with my guys that I train is you may be here right now as the only member of your team, but once you get back to your team, it's all 5 of you working together. It's not about being recruited. It's about enjoying your time with your teammates in high school because that's the purest form of football that you're ever going to play.
Yep. I once heard an MLB coach say, just be good.
Yeah.
They'll find you, just be good. It seems such like a funny answer, but it's the truth. They'll find you.
Yep.
Just be
They'll
good.
Find you. I mean, you just put it on tape, you put your work in and you put yourself on tape and they're going to find you, especially in the area that we live in.
Yeah,
for
sure.
I grew up knowing that Ohio was a high school football hotbed. But once I actually got here, I coached at Dublin Jerome last year. Even in a COVID year, there's a different energy when you go to a high school football game, and the level of competition here, it's pretty outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. And then last question, and then I do want to talk 5 dot. So last NFL question for now till we get to rapid fire. You said your back's to the ball. How many times and how hard is it when you have a running back or one of your own teammates or the quarter, whoever roll up on you? Every time I watch an NFL game, I'm like, how do these guys, did you ever have that happen to you? And
Oh yeah,
I'm sure, but how do you guys not get hurt more often in that case? Because it happens so often.
Oh, I mean, you get hurt most of the time, but it's just that. So I always put the hashtag on all my tweets for 5 dot O-line mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is to me is it's getting up and doing your job no matter what happened the play before.
Mm-hmm.
You could have you could have kicked the guy's butt, but you have to go back and do it all over again because you're only as good as your last play.
Wow. Yeah.
Or, you could give up a sack to Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to sit there and pout about it?
Yeah.
Or are you going to fix it the next play?
Yeah.
Or else he's just going to do it again.
Yeah.
So it's just a mindset of, all right, this is my job. Obviously, if you're too hurt to do it, then have a trainer look at you. Let's be smart about it. But there's a mindset with O-linemen, with a lot of football players, honestly, in every position is you're going to get nicks and bruises and stuff's going to happen. But do you have the willpower to overcome that, to focus on your job the next play?
Yeah. I'm sorry. One more. 1A question. One more. Because you just while you were talking, I thought of another. So you are facing an Aaron Donald or a Bosa or whatever, you name it. Is there ever a point where you're just like, like, what I mean? Or, like you're just looking at, because you just said it. It's like going to a job you hate every day, except you're doing it in a football game on a Sunday. I got to think that every play is like going to a job you hate because or do you start to pick up tendency? I mean, I imagine watching film and those kind of things, but was there ever a time where you're just like, oh, not today, man, not today?
I mean, there's definitely times like that. There's little moments in the game where you may not get the slide to your way, and that guy lines up across from you, and you're like, all right, just do what you do.
Trust your
training. The big thing is, if you have a guy like that, don't change a single thing that you do just because it's that player. It's, you trust your technique, you trust that you've put in your training that you can do it. And, if you don't, it's the next play.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Next play. Just don't let it happen again. Learn from it. Learn from your mistakes every single time. So there's a lot of mental preparation that goes into it with the film study and stuff. And we'll get to 5 dot, but that's what I want to teach kids how to do is watch film on guys, not just stare at a screen and say, oh, look at this guy make this crazy play. Yeah. No, how did he make that play? Right. How do I stop him from making that play? And a guy like Aaron Donald, when you're watching film, I mean, the dude, if he feels you leaning 1 inch outside, he's going to go inside just like that.
Wow.
And he's a special athlete. And it's pretty cool that I got to play against him a handful of times.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's move on to 5 dot because that's what we're here for. And I think you've already given some of the very wisdom that you're probably teaching your guys. You've mentioned it a few times. So let's really talk about when did you start 5 dot, and just really kind of talk to us about 5 dot, because I get to see you almost every day. I know it's at the Spot Athletics is where it's located, and just beautiful facility and great for what you need to do. Especially, it's almost like a collegiate setup with all the things that you need at your disposal to really train up guys. Let's talk about 5 dot. When did it start, and what is 5 dot for somebody listening to this?
Yeah, so I texted JL, the owner of the Spot, towards the end of December because I was sorry.
No problem. It's unscripted. You're good.
Because what I really want to do at some point is coach, NFL or college. But I've made my wife and kids move around enough the past 9 years. We've lived in 7 different cities in 9 years. Yeah. So I want to give them a home, and because that's what they deserve, and we love it here. So I was kind of thinking like, should I go back to school, get my master's in education, be a teacher, high school coach, and all that? And then I remembered my buddy who I played with in San Francisco my rookie year. He also played 9 years. And he has something very similar down in Arizona that he does. So that's where the inspiration came from. And towards the end of December, I texted JL. I was, hey, what do you think about this? About opening up an O-line academy at the spot? Because that's where I used to train when I played. And he was all for it. So I was just kind of dipping my toe in the water, feeling it out. Is this what I want to do? And the more I started thinking about it, the more I got passionate about it.
Yeah.
And started training my first kids in February. Have 13 kids now. Hopefully more for April. But the name 5 Dot, so you can see it on my shirt right here.
Yep.
Right there. So when coaches draw their play on a sheet of paper, first thing they put down, five spots for the offensive line.
Yeah.
And especially for pass plays, they'll draw all these intricate route concepts, and for the offensive lineman, there will just be a little line.
Yeah.
So our thinking of it was when you come to us, you're more than just a dot on a paper. We put a person in that place and
That's
teach
awesome.
you how to do that job. So that's
very
the
cool
thinking behind it.
I love it. I love the concept. And you said, and I'll tell you, I was there. This is Tuesday nights? Oh, my days are running together.
Thursday night right now.
It's Thursday night now. It's on Tuesday night though, right? Tuesday and Sunday?
Monday and Wednesday.
Monday. I guess they all run together. So whatever night I was there, I just was sitting there and I was talking to somebody, and all of a sudden these shadows kept going by me. And finally I kind of looked up and I'm like, wow. I mean, big dudes coming in, and boy, the kids just grow big now. I was blown away by the size of the guys coming in to work with you, but I was also blown away that those guys get to work with you. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, man, I almost wanted to stay and just watch, because they were some big dudes. And I'm like, this is awesome. Because, a lot of places, especially where we are, you see the speed guys and the, you see, and it's not often that you see guys that size, but coming in and getting that work in. It was cool to see. So very cool.
It's really neat being able to work with them. That high school kids these days, they're big kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of the high schools around here, they have their strength programs, and you can tell it pays off. And that's part of the reason why I opened this up is there's all these quarterback gurus and wide receiver coaches and all this and that out there. There's not many guys outside of your coaches that do it full time that are invested in developing offensive linemen.
Right.
And I think it's a perfect fit for me because, I'm not someone who's just there to get your kid in and get them out. I want to teach them, I don't just want to teach them about football, but the lessons that football teach you for life, because there's so many things that translate from football to life. When I was in San Francisco, the second time around in 18 and 19, and when I was in Atlanta, we had this group of Navy SEALs come in. It's called APG, Acumen Performance Group, something like that. Great guys. And they taught us about mental stuff, mental training that they would go through. And their motto, it stuck with me from the second that I heard it. And this is what I teach. I tell my guys this all the time. How you do anything is how you do everything. It doesn't matter making your bed in the morning. You can do it halfway, or you can actually do it, because just something as simple as that, if you're going to do it the right way, I guarantee you you're going to do your schoolwork the right way. I guarantee you you're going to listen to your coaches the right way and not just shrug off what they're saying. So, it's just something that I'm really excited to help these guys with.
Say that again for me. How you do anything is how you do everything. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Man, that's good. That's really, really good. First time I've ever heard that. And when you guys, so the guys come in, you're doing, like you said, life application stuff. And are you breaking down film too? I think you said that you You teach them how to
Yeah.
watch film. Do you do some of that as well?
Not right now. I need to get my projector set up. In fact, I'm going to do that tomorrow. But yeah, come the next block, I'm going to offer the film sessions if guys want it. I'm going to give my guys this month a little taste of it on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat it like a little football school. You know, you'd be surprised how many high schoolers don't know what a 3 technique is. You know, or an over defense versus an under defense. And it's just those bare basics that with every kid that comes in, that's where we start. Bare basics, bare bones, and we build from there.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that my way is not the only way to be an offensive lineman, but I've been able to pick up coaching tips from some phenomenal offensive line coaches in the NFL. And I want to apply that to these guys and share that with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, if I was an offensive lineman or had one in my home, this makes perfect sense to me. Cause I had that question for you. I think you answered it. There's a ton and they're great guys. There's quarterback guys, there's speed guys, there's DB guys, there's wide receiver guys. Like there's all those things. There's a ton of those guys, especially in this town, and especially a lot of former Buckeyes. They hang a shingle, they make a nice business for themselves. But to your point, I mean, I've lived here 20 plus years. Again, I wasn't looking for it. So now I'll probably see 4 or 5 of them, but I don't think there is. I don't think there is 4 or 5 offensive line academies for those guys. Like, you know, like you said, they're usually dots. I love the concept of the name because that's so true. I mean, it's just, you know, 5 circles. All right, you got, you know, this guy pulls, there you go. That's it. You know, and somebody's got to teach the technique that made you successful. I mean, you know, pushing a sled's not the end of it. There's a lot more to what you do, I'm sure.
That one of the guys that comes in and helps me. He played at Kentucky and played for a year with the Eagles and a year or 2 in the CFL. He put it the best way. He coaches high school around here, and he says, he asks his kids, what's the fun part about playing football? And they all say running and hitting. And then he responds with, yeah, but it's the 96 other things that you have to do to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because to somebody who hasn't played the position, they may think offensive lineman, it's just hit the guy right in front of you. Well, to a certain extent, yeah, but there's so many more nuances that come into that, like making sure you're hitting off of your second step when you're run blocking, you know, and as easy as that sounds, it's freaking hard. I mean, I still struggle with it to this day. And the earlier I can get these concepts into these kids' heads, the more beneficial it'll be.
And they'll be practicing that at their high school instead of just what everybody else is doing that didn't go to the academy. And it doesn't mean everybody's got to go to the academy, but anybody that didn't isn't going to be working on things that will soon become habits. Effective habits, right? Isn't that, I think, what you would probably want them to do?
Yeah, exactly. Effective habits. That's the perfect way to put it. And that's, if I have a high school coach reach out to me and because one of their kids is coming, first thing I tell them is, I'm never going to teach this kid scheme. I'm not going to tell him that your high school is doing this the wrong way. I'm going to give him the tools to adapt what we do with what their philosophy is for their certain high school. You know, so it's never going to be my way or the highway. Cool thing about really doing anything is the more you learn, the easier it is for these kids to apply it.
For sure.
You know, because a lot of stuff, concepts and blocking and stuff, those carry over and they mesh really well with a lot of things that high school coaches teach. They
translate well. And that's, I would think too, like if I was going to teach a kid how to shoot a jump shot, that doesn't mean it's going to take, as you said, I think rephrasing what you even said too, it's, if I taught him how to have a jump shot, he's probably going to take 500 jump shots a day. But when he goes back to his high school, they're going to run an offense, but that jump shot is going to transfer. So when he's open, he can hit it, you know, and it sounds like the same concept for this, for football. Awesome. So let's talk about logistics. I know you said you're running one now on Mondays and Wednesdays and not Tuesdays and Sundays or whatever I said. It's Mondays and Wednesdays. And what's the time and how many hours are they looking at, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So we operate in 4-week blocks. You have the option of coming once or twice a week for on-field sessions. Then you can add a third one for the film session. So if you do 2 sessions a week over 4 weeks, that's 8 sessions, 8 hours of work. Each of our sessions are an hour long. And then for kids who are doing spring sports, I do a session on Sundays. That's an hour and a half long. So you get 6 hours of work. Just because I think the more repetitions you get at it, the better you're going to do.
Yeah.
So I want to offer, it's the price range is all over. I try and make this as affordable as possible for people, because that's the goal of this, is to help as many kids out as I can.
That's awesome.
So yeah, each session is an hour long. Right now we have classes Monday, Wednesday at 4:30 and 5:40 on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then Sundays it's from 12:30 to 2.
12:32. Okay, I knew there was a Sunday in there. I knew.
Yeah.
I knew there was a Sunday in there somewhere. So that's good. So, and if I'm interested, if I know someone that's interested, if I'm a high school coach and I'm interested, if I pass this on to my high school coach, or I'm a parent whose son plays for the high school team, all those people, what's the best way for me to find out more information?
You can just shoot me an email, mike@5.academy.com.
It's the number 5, right?
Yep, the number 5. We post a lot of stuff on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that. If you want a little reference, little taste of what we do. Also, you can check out our website, 5.academy.com. There's some stuff in there, but the most effective way is to shoot me an email, and we can set up a call and I can go over this in detail with you. Awesome. Because I'm not much of a talker, but once I get talking about this, I get pretty fired up and I can ramble on.
Yeah. And you can see that. You can see that this is your passion. And I love that you've found a space, because I have to think that is, NFL players are warriors. And so on Sunday, I got to think, and especially turn on the TV, like have you found a place now where you can turn on the TV and just watch the game? Or was this driven? I think you mentioned this a little bit, but was this driven out of, man, I got to do something because I miss the game so much?
Yeah, it's driven out of I miss the game so much.
Yeah.
And I want to stay involved with it
and give it back.
I've always said I'm not just a football player, but at the end of the day, that's what I've done for the past 14 years of my life.
Yeah.
Is play football, and for 5 of those I went to school, as a student athlete. The key to that being student first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what I love to do. I would sit down on Sundays and watch as many games as I could this past year. It's not something that I can give up. It truly is my passion.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. You ready for some rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right. How many calories a day does the average NFL lineman consume?
Probably 8,000 to 9,000. Yeah.
You just said 8,000 to 9,000.
Yeah. Between 7 and 9. Yeah. I was always a guy that struggled to keep weight on, so I'd have to eat as much as I could, and there's guys who struggle to keep it off, so they have to go on a more strict diet plan. But think about training camp. When I was in training camp in Atlanta, I would lose 10 pounds a day easily.
Oh my goodness.
And easily. So you have to replenish that with fluids and proper nutrition. So yeah, it was a job, full-time job eating.
Oh my gosh. What does it even look like? Is it just high calorie stuff, or are you just eating all day?
You have your 3 big meals and you have 2 pretty decent snacks in between there.
Wow.
6 eggs for breakfast, and lunch was always the tough one because it was right before practice. So
yes, you don't want to see it again.
Never ate too much at lunch, but dinner, full-time job. 9,000
calories. That is unbelievable. That's not the answer that I was literally, that was far. I knew it would be a lot, but not 9,000 calories. All right. Did you find that you think you answered it? Did you find that you immediately dropped weight as soon as you stopped playing?
So I always thought that I would, but I actually didn't. I've stayed right around 300. I'm about 290 right now. I want to get down to 270, 265. But yeah, that's my goal.
I didn't notice that. That's why I asked that question. Cause I mean, you don't look to me like the size of an NFL lineman. The other guy that I always think of is Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
Like he went from being the center. Well, you might've played. Did you play with Jeff or did he probably
No,
retired?
I didn't.
That, right?
I didn't.
Okay. But yeah, you know, Jeff's a big guy.
Mhm.
He shows up on ESPN and he's weighed like 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Like half his size.
That's what my college coach would always say to the guys who would be graduating. It's the plus or minus 50 club. You're either going to gain 50 or lose 50 right after you're done playing.
Yeah.
You're not going to stay the same.
Yeah. Or like a Joe Thomas is another guy I think of from the Browns.
Yeah.
That guy's in incredible shape now.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me to see that. So, okay. Coldest game you ever played in. And I know this answer. Did you wear sleeves?
I did not wear sleeves. It was one of the few games that I wore gloves. I never wore gloves. So my hands were kind of scarred up, but coldest game was probably my senior year. That Cat Grizz game I was telling you about against Montana. We were playing at Montana in Missoula. The wind chill at kickoff was like 15 below. And I mean, it was a cold one. It was a cold one. It was kind of funny. I remember after pregame warmups, so our offensive line coach was big no sleeves guy for the O-line, and we had a couple kids from California that were pretty cold, and our O-line coach, he's a big guy. He's in there with his winter jacket on and gloves, and we all go up to him like, "What the hell, coach? These guys can't wear sleeves, but you can stand there with a winter jacket." You know what? You're right. So he takes off his winter jacket. He has on a polo and winter gloves, and I mean, he's on the sideline shivering, trying to do adjustments.
Hey, leadership. That's leadership, right?
That's exactly what he was. He was
That's
one
awesome.
of the best leaders I've ever been around.
So is there, and this wasn't on here, but is there a trick to no sleeves? Is it like, I know runners will sometimes use Vaseline or, do you put it on your face or you just go out there and man up?
You just go out there. I mean,
wow.
Once you get moving, it's not that big of a deal, honestly.
Yeah.
The most annoying thing is the heaters on the sideline that everybody huddles around.
Yeah.
They're usually right by the O-line bench. So we're trying to do adjustments and you have 20 guys huddled around a heater. Like, get the hell out of here, man. Come on.
We got work to do. With your sleeves. Get over it. All right. What's your favorite NFL town? It doesn't have to be what you played for.
Favorite NFL town. We lived in Kansas City for 2 years and we love that place.
Yeah.
It great people. I mean, obviously great food. The barbecue there is phenomenal.
So good.
Kansas City was really cool.
That would have been the plus 50 club if you went.
Yeah, if we stayed there at plus 75 probably.
That's right. That's right. All right. Two more. Did you ever score a touchdown?
No, I didn't. College, we had a couple plays called for me that we repped up in practice, but I screwed those up, so never got called in the game.
So no touchdowns. Let me. You gotta be honest now. Real honest. Unscripted. Did you have a secret dance planned if you would have scored a touchdown?
So our O-line in San Francisco, we always had little dances that we do.
Okay.
It would rarely get caught on camera, but we'd always have our secret little dances that we do in the back. Nice.
Awesome. Well, man, you've been great. I know I've thrown a lot at you. The big thing is 5 dot. Just I love what you're doing. The time I've been around it, I see the stuff that you guys, like you said, there's a lot on social media. So I'm going to have everything in the post below, our video and the audio. I'll have all your links as well, but let's say them one more time. Just run through it with me one more time for 5 dot. Everything I need to know about 5 dot in an elevator speech.
Yeah. So we're Central Ohio's premier offensive line academy. If you want to find out more, shoot me an email, mike@5dotacademy.com, or our website, 5dotacademy.com, and our Twitter handles and Instagram are both at 5dotacademy. So, awesome. We'd love to help out anybody that comes in starting in the 7th grade on up. So, don't be shy and reach out.
Well, this will go up right away. But you said you got another session coming up. We probably should have covered that. That's my bad. Terrible host.
You're good.
When's the next session start?
So our next block starts, I believe, March 29th. Yeah. March 29th.
Okay. So a couple weeks.
So, yeah, it's coming up quick. We usually don't let people come in mid-block just
Okay.
because we start out with the bare basics of stance and all that, and we don't want to have one kid on the side who doesn't really understand the language that I'm using, and I have to help him along while it's being a disservice to the other guys in the class. So get in before that next block starts, and can't wait to work with anybody.
Is there a limit to the class size? There is, isn't there?
Yeah, so we have a small group and semi-private. Semi-private is up to 4 guys.
Okay.
Small group is 10 guys, and then our large group, which is for middle schoolers only. We don't have one of those up and running yet. That's up to 12 people.
Okay. And there will, and this is recurring, right? So this will start, there's this 4-week block, and then you'll have another one after that. If by chance somebody's listening to this and it's April,
Yep.
There's another one coming, right?
Yep. It's just going to keep rolling, and we won't do anything during the football season. That's time for our athletes to be with their teams, with their coaches, soak in all that coaching. So
Awesome.
right up until training camp, we're going to be rolling with blocks. I'm going to try and get a calendar up on our website to let you know when the next block is coming. So,
Awesome.
And what our tentative schedule is. There might be a week off here and there, but yeah, we're just rolling through it and just want to get kids in the door.
And one more question with regards to it. So if let's say I go through your first 4-week block, is there like a 101, 201, 301, or is it just like that 4 block and then you kind of move on to your next group and start all over?
Yeah. So that's eventually what I want to build it up to.
Okay.
I want to build it up into groups where I've had kids for the past 4 years. You know, this is obviously down the road.
Yeah.
But right now with the numbers that we have, it'll, depending on how many new guys we have come in, I'll just be rolling into the next block and be doing a lot of the same stuff we're doing right now, but more in depth stuff. But if we have a bunch of influx of new guys, we'll start from 101, and from stance basics to weight distribution, just so you can get ready to play.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And you're good people, Mike. The first time we met, you were treating me like I'd known you forever. And I'm sure that comes from your time, meeting new teammates, meeting new guys, and just making those connections. So I appreciate getting to see you almost every day. Even though I don't know what day it is, I do get to see you. And I just appreciate you coming on, telling the story. And I really, what I want somebody to take away is this, hopefully what they've heard is this isn't just, we're not slinging weight around or pushing a sled. Like you're teaching techniques that will translate far beyond what you guys do at the spot while you're in your, your block. That's going to translate over to your high school and hopefully your college or whatever your aspirations are. That stuff. And if it's not the actual physical stuff, it's the approach mentally and the approach to the challenges, as you said, the setbacks, the adversity. So I love what you're doing. I'm really a fan of 5 Dot, and I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'll see you soon.
You betcha.
Take care. Thank you, Mike.
You bet.
All righty.